One thing I see a lot of on websites, especially professional services providers like lawyers and financial advisors, one thing I really see a lot of is really long and dense about pages. Now, your about page is really, really important, but you don't want to turn people off with paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of text, nothing to break it up, no pictures, nothing that really draws the eye to it and gets people to stay on the page and read more. Because unfortunately, for better or worse, a lot of people these days are just skimming websites. But if that information, much of it or all of it, is really that important and you feel necessary to keep on your about page, there are ways of putting it on there, laying it out so that you get people to look at it, to read all of it, enjoy it, and then even make a call to perhaps hire you or work with you. So let's take a look. So this is the kind of bio that I'm talking about where you just have a picture and a lot of text. And it is boring, boring to no end. I know that the information here can be quite interesting and very necessary, but at first glance, a lot of people are just not going to read this because it's kind of long, it's not broken up, it doesn't have any headers followed by sections. And then the education of this particular individual is all the way at the bottom here. That is something that people who are looking for a lawyer want to see almost immediately. They want to know where they went to college, law school, and anything else. And the only good things right really here on this particular page are his name, his title, the bar associations that he's been admitted to, his services and specialties. But beyond that, you know, wow, I've managed to make Tom Cruise look kind of boring. Sorry, Tom. Anyway, so let me show you an example of how this can be changed so that it works a lot better. So this is, I think, a much better version of the previous one. Not finished, but already you can see that it's quite different. So we have the same picture. It looks good there. And I do, by the way, like it when I see pictures of people that are a little bit more casual, not the typical, suit and tie pictures that we see on lawyers and financial advisors websites. But that's a personal thing. That's a style issue. Anyway, we have the same picture. I put a little bit of a shadow around it to set it apart. Have his name, his title, admissions, services and specialties, and here's something interesting, languages that he speaks. This is becoming, I believe, more and more important and more not necessarily required, but if possible, it's something that I think a lot of people want to put into their bios. And right away, this alone, just this section up here, tells a very interesting story. It not only has his name, his level in the firm, and so on, but the languages that he speaks. And there are three very, very different languages. So already that makes people think, gee, who is this guy? So below that, there is a contact me button, and that would go directly to him, not to the firm's web mail, but directly to him. So already this page is inviting someone to get in touch with him. Now below that in this contrasting section, this kind of boring gray, but still contrasting section, you have the overview. I think this is a bit long still, 2 paragraphs. I would limit it to one. But it starts to tell you a deeper story about this particular lawyer. And then right here we have education. Like I mentioned, that's something that people always look for. This is called an accordion because when you click on a section, part of it opens up, and there you've got his education. You click on it, closes it. Thought leadership, these could be things like papers he's published or speeches that he's given at important conferences, things like that. Community, not required, but it does give a fuller picture. And here I've divided it into 2 columns, pictures of him and his family, or his then family, and then a little bit of text. And again, a contact Tom form this time where you could, your visitors could get more specific about what they want to talk about. And it would, once submitted, it would go directly to this particular individual. And then below that, the typical section of, let's work together. So let me give you one more version of this, a little bit more polished, a little bit more finished, so you really get a good idea of how this would appear on an actual website. So obviously this is not a real website, but this is again just part, this could be part of an entire law firm. And so you've got the logo up here, the menu here, and then right below that, just as we had before, his name, his title, emissions, and so on. I moved the languages section up a bit so that this whole part appears above the fold of a computer screen. Here I put another line here. This would be a link back to our team directory, which would suggest if you don't think he's the right fit for you, you go back to the team directory or you're just browsing anyway. This would take you back to the list of lawyers in the firm. And here I've put in social media buttons because maybe, that's something that you might want. It's an invitation to get to know this particular individual better or to email him directly. I changed the background of the overview section as well as the fonts. I put in a divider here, took out one of the paragraphs and just put a sentence here in bold saying, "For more about Tom and his brilliant career, please browse the sections below." Not entirely necessary, but again, I think some users like to be told what to do, or it's kind of strange to me that some people don't know that these sections are openable, even though they have a plus sign, but whatever it takes to get people to interact, to engage, to click on things. All right, so as we saw before, that's an accordion. We have the Let's Work Together section here, contact us today, and then below that, a nice, very simple yet elegant footer with the firm's social media icons, other things like contact, offices, career, newsletter, and so on. All right, so we've gone from an extremely boring bio to one that I think is a lot more interesting. It's more succinct. It invites the user to click on things and use the page. And I do believe something like this would move a visitor closer, faster toward making a hiring decision. All right, let me know what you think. All right, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon again in my next video.